What is going on? Well, as you can probably already tell, um, things are a little hectic right now. Um, I have spent most of last night and this morning trying to fix some technical issues, even though I changed absolutely nothing in the way I have my stuff set up, and it just broke. So if the show is a little discombobulated, if I'm a little discombobulated, that's why I have. Ever after getting my topics down, I haven't looked at a single note. So I'm going to be winging it today. And also, let me know if you can hear me, because that was one of the issues I was working on. But anyway, welcome to the Mission Ready Men briefing here on the SHR Media Network, where we are training up warriors, not weaklings. And today is Thursday, October 16th, in the year of our Lord, 2025. And this is where we come to get equipped to stand firm, speak truth, and fight back against a culture that is trying to steal your faith, your family, and your freedom. Because we are in a spiritual battle, not a political one. And the battle never, ever takes a day off. So we're done, absolutely done pulling punches. The gloves are off, and we're getting after it. So be sure to follow us at Mission Ready Men on all the socials: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, Getter, all of them. And be sure to follow and subscribe to our Rumble and YouTube channels as well. And if you want to get some cool gear and let everyone know that you are in this fight, go ahead over to missionreadymen.com, click Shop 7 Armors, and check out all of the great designs we have over there, like this Mission Ready Men logo tee. Yeah, head over there and check it out. All right, now that business is out of the way, and I've given you some excuses, it's go time. There is so much I wanted to talk about. This show is going to be packed. And in the midst of trying to get everything straightened out, I was trying to figure out, there was another topic that came up that I wanted to talk about. So we'll see if we can get it all in. But right now, first up, I want to just quickly mention the Charlie Kirk Presidential Medal of Freedom ceremony that took place the other day. It was in the Rose Garden, the newly renovated Rose Garden, as President Trump was quick to point out, on what would have been Charlie Kirk's 32nd birthday. And one of the things I saw on X, not all over the place, but a few places, it also happened to be George Floyd's birthday. And a lot of leftists were yammering about how George Floyd's birthday was more important. Just utterly ridiculous. A crackhead criminal who overdosed was more important than a guy who tried to win souls for Christ and fight for this country. The left is, wow. I don't even know what to say about that. Those people are ridiculous. Anyway, Charlie Kirk was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And it wasn't just a ceremony in this case. It was a statement of legacy, conviction, and the cost of speaking the truth in times such as these. There were a lot of conservative voices that were there. Glenn Beck, Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, although I don't even know what to call him anymore. And even President Javier Milei from Argentina, which was interesting to see. But it was a great ceremony. Let's see if I actually have any. I don't even know if I got half of this stuff ready, so just bear with me, y'all. We're gonna see if we can get this train back on track. And as of right now, we are running off the rails. Here we go. Nope, that's not it. Oh, this is going to be fun, y'all. This is going to be so much fun. Yeah, here we go. Let's take a listen to this one. This was one of President Trump's remarks, and the whole thing, his whole speech was pretty good. And there were a few clips I wanted to pull from it, and let's just take a look at this one real quick. Oh, y'all, technology is not my friend. Technology, even though I made a career in technology, it is, it's getting on my nerves right about now, in case you haven't noticed. But let's take a look at this real quick.
He was assassinated in the prime of his life for boldly speaking the truth, for living his faith and relentlessly fighting for a better and stronger America. He loved this country. And that's why this afternoon it's my privilege to posthumously award Charles James Kirk, our nation's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Thank you.
So there was that, and there wasn't anything too special about that, but that just basically kicked off the ceremony. And he had a lot of really good things to say that really brought home the gravity of the situation and the honor that they were giving him, and it was awesome to see. But Erica Kirk, his wife, his widow, had some really poignant things to say, and let's see if I can pull that one up now. Like I said, this is going to be a fun show. Yeah, there were a few that I pulled. Here's one that I think will encapsulate everything that I wanted to communicate here before we move on. I didn't want to spend too much time on it, but I wanted to mention it because I thought it was important. So let's take a listen to this.
Of freedom reminds us that the national interest of the United States has always been freedom. Our founders etched it into the preamble of our Constitution, and those words are not relics on parchment. They are a living covenant. The blessings of liberty are not man's invention, they are God's endowment. Charlie lived for those blessings, not as abstract words, but as sacred promises. He used to love to journal about this topic all the time, and with such a heart postured of gratitude. And he believed that liberty was both a right and a responsibility. And he used to say, freedom is the ability to do what is right without fear. And that's how he lived. He was free from fear. He was free from compromise. free from anything that could enslave his soul. His name, Charles, literally means free man. And that's exactly who my husband was. He was a free man. And from the time I met him, sitting across from him, being interviewed on politics and philosophy and theology, anything that Charlie loved, any topic he loved, and I just saw the fire in his soul, and there was this divine restlessness within him that came from knowing God placed him on this earth to protect something very, very sacred for all of us. And he never stopped fighting for people to experience freedom. He didn't. Charlie often said that without God, freedom becomes chaos. And he believed liberty could only survive when anchored to truth.
I know that was a kind of a long clip, and I apologize for that, but I really wanted to get to that last part of it, because that is 100% correct. And what we see on the left right now is a complete abandoning, rejection, not even abandoning, or just complete rejection of the truth. And if you don't have truth, everything else becomes irrelevant. The awarding of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, I think, is a capstone for everything that has gone on since his assassination. They wanted to silence his voice, and all they did was amplify it. And that's going to be his legacy. And the people who thought that they were going to silence him, the people who thought that this was going to set back the movement or anything like that, they are in for a rude awakening. And I am so here for it. All right, I want to move on because I want to get into some other things that took place. Obviously, we know about the peace deal with Hamas. And as I talked about last time, they are already breaking it. And I think Israel would be well within their rights at this point to go back in there and just turn Gaza into a parking lot. They're not going to do that, though, because they really want the remains of their hostages back so that they can give them the proper burials that they are entitled to. And I get that, but I also think that the chances of them getting all of the bodies back is slim to none at this point. They said even before the transfers took place that they weren't going to be able to locate them all, and they transferred over, I believe it's 9 now. They gave them 4 bodies, and one of them was a Gazan, and then they gave them 3 more, I believe. I think the total that they gave back is 9, one of which is not an actual Israeli hostage. So there's still 19 or 20 that they're saying that they can't locate. If that goes on for much longer, I really, really pray that Israel just decides, you know what? It's time. And they just level the place. They should. And no one with 2 firing neurons would blame them. And of course, we know the left would, but they don't have more than 2 firing neurons, so that's irrelevant. But the deal called for the returning of 48 hostages, 20 living, which they did, who they did return, 28 deceased. So that leaves, like 19 or 20 hostages that are still in Gaza somewhere. And they're saying that they have no idea where they might be. And there's a really good chance that the remains are just not intact and have been scattered all over the place in Gaza. Because those are the kind of animals that they are. And the fact that they turned over a body dressed in an Israeli uniform that was not one of the hostages just tells you the kind of games that they're playing. They're not taking this seriously. And I know that President Trump, he probably really wants to believe that they are, but Netanyahu and his cabinet and the people over there, I'm pretty sure they know at this point that they're going to have to go back, that they're going to have to go back and just wreck shop. Defense Minister, Prime Minister Netanyahu said that Hamas has desecrated the dead. They lied to the world about who they handed over. He called it a grotesque fraud and a moral obscenity. And he's right. Defense Minister Gallant said that they're desecrating human life in every possible way. Well, yeah, of course. Because unless you're a Muslim, and sometimes even Muslims don't get treated well by these people, by these animals. So what do you expect? Especially when you consider how much they absolutely hate Israel and the Jewish people. Ben-Gvir wants humanitarian aid suspended into Gaza until they produce all 21 bodies. Yep. Sounds good to me. Because let's not forget, people, the left, they talk about how it's a humanitarian crisis for the Palestinian people, for the Gazan people. They voted for this. People seem to conveniently forget that. They voted for this. And then, of course, we know that they suspended all future elections after that, and it's been 20 years or so. But they voted for it. They voted for it, and every generation that they've raised up since then, they think this is great. They raised these kids to want to be martyrs for the cause. So what do you really think the chances are that they're going to magically decide that they want peace? Come on. Come on. And I know President Trump wants peace. He believes in peace, and that's admirable. I get it. But we got to be realistic here. We got to be realistic. They hate Israel. They hate us. They want to conquer the entire world. As the title of this show says, they have declared war. They've declared war. So let's fight back. Hamas, radical Muslims in general, they are barbaric, warlord. They just they feed on bloodshed. They feed on bloodshed if it means advancing the cause of Islam. And until somebody stops them, they are going to continue to do it. And we see what's happening in Europe. We see what's happening in Texas. We see what's happening in Florida. They are not going to stop just because we ask nicely. They're going to stop when we stop them. This is an area where those of us who believe in freedom, those of us who believe, well, especially Christians, but even people who aren't necessarily Christian, but understand the danger that Islam poses, we can't compromise on this. We absolutely cannot compromise on this. Israel, they have communicated that they will not stop until all of the hostages are returned. What happens if they don't return the hostages? President Trump said that Israel, the IDF, would go back in if he gives the word, if they don't uphold their end of the deal. They've already said they're not going to uphold their end of the deal. Beyond the hostages, they've already said, and they said before it was even signed, that they were not going to disarm. So it's pretty much a given, I think, at this point, that this ceasefire is not going to hold for very long. This is not peace. This is just a pause. I think this was a pause to, I think Israel agreed to this to appease President Trump, which, so one of the other things the left likes to say is that, especially the anti-Semitic crowd, which pretty much is the left, but they like to say that Netanyahu is controlling Trump. What? President Trump is the alpha dog here. And I think that Netanyahu agreed to this to appease the alpha, knowing that at some point President Trump was going to have to say, all right, release the dogs of war. Go get them. I think that's what's going on here. And because the only way there is any kind of lasting peace is if Hamas is completely destroyed. And I know that people don't want to hear this, but as I said earlier, they have been raising up every subsequent generation to hate Jewish people and to desire to be martyrs for the cause. They voted for it, and they're living it out. The only way this ends is wiping out Hamas. And that means, to a large extent, if not completely, the Palestinian people. Yeah, I said it, and I'm not sorry about it, because it's true, and it's just common sense. To do it any other way is to invite more war. Maybe not right away, but eventually. The only way to get rid of them, the only way to end this for good, is to get rid of them. Wipe them all out. You don't like it? Too bad, because that's the truth. All right, I am behind on the chats here. Let's see what we got. BZ says they will never get the bodies of the hostages back. You're probably right. I think you're probably right. I think they have gotten back all the hostages that they are going to. Oh, I see. AOC is talking about having air that's drinkable. Yeah, I saw that. And I hope I'm going to be able to get to that town hall. Because, yeah, she is. Oh, my goodness. Anyway. Yep, Gazans voted for Hamas 3 times. Yes. So you're going to have to suffer the consequences of that. And they probably don't even see it as consequences at this point because, as I said, they've all been raised to be martyrs. BZ says, Trump is the master gamer. You can uncork on Mozzies in the Western world when you provided chances for peace. Chances provided. Now choose the rubble aspect. Well, I think that was always inevitable, honestly. All right. I wanted to talk about this the last time, but I didn't get to it. And so I want to mention it here. And I'm not going to get into everything that sorry about that. There was a whole talking point release that Antifa doesn't exist. They've been saying that for a long time. Jerry Nadler was the first one I heard say a few years back that Antifa doesn't exist. But you know what? Let's just let's just go ahead and dig right in, because this is one of the most ridiculous talking points and most provably false talking points that you could possibly have. And this one, this guy.
You understand, there's no Antifa. This is an entirely imaginary organization. There is not an Antifa. This is no different than if they announced they rounded up a dozen Decepticons. We've captured the Chupacabra, everyone. And then it was Trump's turn to ratchet up the rhetoric with fiery images conjured from no one has any idea where. You understand.
No one has any idea where, huh? Okay. Okay. Let's see if we can figure it out. They are insisting that Antifa doesn't exist. For some reason, they are insisting now that Antifa doesn't exist. But let's just go back 8 years. And one of the major, I don't even want to say news networks, but major propaganda outlets actually did a story about Antifa. So if they don't exist, why would there be a story about them?
Shows us this group like you've never seen it before.
It's 6 a.m. in Portland, Oregon, and we're headed to a bar with blacked out windows.
They wanted to meet us really early in the morning because they're concerned about a lot of people being around.
We are meeting members of the Rose City Antifa, short for anti-fascist. This group's main goal is to disrupt neo-Nazis and white supremacists.
And Rose City Antifa, the oldest known Antifa group in the country. They've been around a long time.
But also take on government and capitalism.
Antifa is any group that's willing to stand up against fascists by any means necessary.
By any means necessary, they say, can mean outing a white nationalist at their work or to their neighbors. Or, as we've seen recently, violence, fires, property damage, hand-to-hand combat at protests across the country. Explain to me the reasoning behind fighting.
You have to make it so unpalatable to be doing white supremacist organizing that they no longer want to do that. And historically, that's what's worked. You have to put your body in the way, and you have to make it speak in a language that they understand, and sometimes that is violence.
There's no firm number on how many Antifa activists there are in the U.S. because there isn't any one organization. Most are local groups that recruit and communicate through social media. But
that story goes on for another few minutes, and I'm not gonna play the whole thing. But for a group that doesn't exist, for something that is only in our imaginations, they looked pretty real to me. And this was before like AI and before like the realistic AI actresses that are running around now, or that have been created now. So if it doesn't exist, what was that? And I think there are a few people, and I talked about this back in the Liberty Cast days a few years ago. I couldn't find the actual some of the footage that I used in my shows back then, but because there was one guy who was trying to protect some people and got clocked with a bike lock and had to get stitches and was in the hospital and stuff like that. But I think Antifa is pretty real to this guy.
Fucking owned, bitch!
That was Andy No, a reporter who's been covering Antifa for a long time. And they said in that piece that they wanted to combat white supremacy. Well, Andy No is a gay Asian reporter. And he was just there covering the story. And that's what they did to him. He spent about a week in the hospital after that, if I remember correctly. So trying to tell him that Antifa is a figment of our imagination, I think is pretty ridiculous. There's no imagining the hospital stay. There's no imagining getting hit in the head with cement milkshakes. They act like, and this is true across all different stories, they act like these video images don't exist. They think we just forget about this stuff. And one last one I want to show, because this one is this one is just unbelievably ridiculous, and I can't stand this guy. And of course, I'm pretty sure he's a Muslim too. Let's take a look at this one. This guy, perhaps one of the worst AGs, if not the worst AG.
So the fact that that there is no, nobody even knows what it is. The first person I ever heard use the word Antifa was Donald J. Trump when he was going on about how there were good people on both sides in Charlottesville. That's the first time I ever heard anyone use the term. So now it's this amorphous thing. And
the first time you ever heard anyone use the term. Meanwhile, that picture is from 2018. This video was just from a few days ago, a week or so ago. This was from 2018 when he is holding up a copy of the Antifa handbook. So yeah, they act like we don't know these things. They act like we can't pull this stuff up. And yeah, he deleted the tweet. But the internet is forever,
and if nobody's really Antifa, then everybody could be. And the reason you can't find them is because they're just that crafty. So the fact that that there is no
just that crafty. He's one of the worst. And not only this, but his son, I didn't pull the tweet up, but his son actually is a member of Antifa or something along those lines. So, I mean, these people are just utterly ridiculous. For being a myth, they are pretty real and pretty violent. BZ says Andy Ngo was almost killed and had a TBI from that assault. Yeah. So yeah, try telling him that it's a figment of his imagination. Antifa handbook written by Mark Bray, who college students are demanding a college to publicly support, though Bray exited the U.S. in order to escape prosecution. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand. I really used to think that the left were smart, just misguided. I used to think that they had some level of intelligence, and maybe 30 or 40 years ago they did, but something has happened. I don't know if Trump broke their brains or what, but they are just complete and utter morons. Morons. They are masters. The fact that they're morons notwithstanding, they are masters at, or at least they used to be masters. We're not buying it anymore, but they used to be masters at manipulating language, gaslighting, and I think that they just don't know what to do at this point because we're not buying it anymore. Republicans, conservatives have finally decided to play by the rules that they established, and they don't know what to do. Between Trump getting elected and him instilling in the right a mentality of fighting, matching the energy that the left projects, they don't know what to do. They do not know what to do, and it is glorious to watch. BZ says, if Antifa wasn't real, why did Mark Bray flee the US? If Antifa wasn't real, why are they concealing their funding? If Antifa isn't real, why did the Rose City Antifa co-founders flee to Sweden? Well, all very excellent questions, my friend. Excellent questions. All right, y'all, let's get a word in from our sponsor today. And our our sponsor for today is Carry Girl Gear. And if you are looking for a solid gift for your wife or your girlfriend or your daughter, check out carrygirl.com. We've got some of the best looking, highest quality shirts out there, bold designs, great fabric, and gear that she will really want to wear. Not just shirts, drinkware, hats, a whole host of accessories that she will absolutely love. And if you have no idea what color she might like, if you're size challenged, go ahead and get yourself a gift card and let her pick it out herself. It's quick, it's easy. She'll get exactly what she wants, and you'll look like a hero. So head over to carrygirl.com today and show some love and make it count. Visit carrygirl.com today. All right, y'all. I am Big E, and you are watching or listening to the Mission Ready Men Briefing right here on the SHR Media Network, where you can catch my good friend Sackhead Sean with The Edge of Liberty every Monday and Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. The Reaver of Common Sense with Jersey Joe, who's in the chat. Thanks for being here, Joe. Every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Pacific. And BZ with the Berserk Bobcat Saloon every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, which means he will be on tonight. So please be sure and check him out and like and subscribe to all of those great shows. Subscribe to the SHR Media channel and help us spread the word. We are at, I believe, 641 subscribers at this point. So thank you all very much for sharing that, and pray that we have a huge breakthrough this year. This year is coming to a close, I know, but there's still time. So help us get to that 700 mark. That's what we're looking for. We want to do that by the end of the year. Well, we want 1,000 by the end of the year, but let's just start with 700 and see where we go. Because we want to reach as many people as we possibly can. All right, y'all. Let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming, and I want to talk about this because this was amazing, and kind of cringy all at the same time. Big Tish. Letitia James. She showed up at Islamo-fascist, Islamo-communist candidate Zohran Mamdani's rally. And she screamed into the mic for a few minutes about things and stuff, mostly about being a victim. And she, I think she thought, I think she thinks she's, because she's big and she's Black, she has to have this preacher persona. And it didn't work. And I grew up around preachers. My dad's a preacher. I have seen many. And she is lacking in so many areas. But she was at the Palace Theater in Washington Heights where he had his rally. And she was steady, shaking her fist and talking about how much of a victim she is of stuff, who knows. But this was her first public appearance since being indicted. I think she may have like done some small presser on the steps or whatever, but this was her first truly public appearance since the indictment. And we're going to get into this, I think, a little bit later if we have time. But as she's railing against the injustice of her indictment and saying how it's retaliation or whatever, and saying that it's a perversion of justice, her tenant at the property in question was evading justice. She was a fugitive. Now, I don't know if she's turned herself in yet. I don't know what's going on there, but I mean, the irony of that is just amazing. And these people have absolutely no self-awareness whatsoever. It is astounding. But she showed up at this rally, and clueless New Yorkers screaming, "Tish, Tish, Tish." Giant "Power to the People" banner behind her on the stage. And it's just amazing. It's just amazing. And I don't know if it's a lack of self-awareness or if it's just defiance. Just they don't care, and there's probably elements of both. But I think she tried to rebrand herself in this in this rally with this speech, talking about how she will not bow, she will not break, blah blah blah. Said that, tried to use President Trump's line, "They're coming after you, I'm just in the way." She tried to twist it for her purposes, but it didn't work. It absolutely did not work. Let's see if I can pull that up here. Yeah, because I posted it myself. To this.
Tonight, because we are ready to turn the page on the cynical, broken politics of the past. We are ready to build a city that works for the people who actually make it run. Working people, the teachers, the nurses, the drivers, the home health aides, the firefighters, the police, not just for those at the top, but for working people who built this city from the ground up. We see powerful voices trying to silence truth and punish dissent, and yes, weaponize justice for...
I have been saying this for a while now. Every accusation from these people is a confession. Everything that she just said is exactly what not only the Biden administration did, but what she did. She ran her campaign for Attorney General on the sole idea that she was going after Donald Trump. That was all she had to offer. And they fell for it. And they're about to vote for Islamo-communist, so you get the government you deserve, I guess.
Political gain. We are witnessing the fraying of our democracy, the erosion of our system of government. This, my friends, is a defining moment in our history. Let us stand together to defend our rights, to protect every safeguard, every institution, every immigrant, every norm, and every rule of law. You see, I know what it feels like to be attacked for just doing your job, but I also know what it feels like to overcome adversity. And so I stand on solid rock.
She is really trying to invoke this preacher vibe. Solid rock is Jesus Christ, and I think she has absolutely no relationship with him whatsoever. But I digress. Let's continue.
And I will not bow. I will not break. I will not bend. I will not capitulate. I will not give in. I will not give up.
Is it just me, or does she seem to have a problem breathing? She may need to get that checked out.
You come for me, you gotta come to all of us. All of us. Every single one of us.
Just, oh my goodness. She is ridiculous. She is trying to portray this activist mentality to try and distract from the fact that she is embroiled in not just a scandal, but the very type of scandal that she accused President Trump of. The exact same thing. The difference being, not only did she lie, not only is she in trouble on that front, but the tenant in this house that she got this lowered this better mortgage rate on is a fugitive, evading justice, the justice that she's saying she wants to uphold. Wow. She's really trying to she's really trying to go on this redemption tour. And the thing is, in New York, it's probably going to work. It's probably going to work. They're about to vote for an Islamo-communist, a guy who supports the very people who knocked down the Twin Towers. So voting for somebody who's a corrupt hypocrite doesn't seem like much of a stretch. Utterly ridiculous. She consulted a thesaurus for that line. I'm not sure which line you were talking about, but yeah, I'm sure she did. I'm sure she did. Yeah, BZ, it is a vocal affectation, without a doubt, without a doubt. And I don't know why she would go that route in New York, honestly. It escapes me why she, well, I think she realizes anything is going to work really in New York. But anyway, speaking of Islamo-communists, the title of this show was Islam Declared War and It's Time to Fight Back. We see what's going on in Europe, in the UK, other countries over there in the EU. And they are trying to take over. They are trying to take over. They engage in a hot war over in Israel, and they're trying to outbreed people outbreed us in the UK and here in the United States. And it's part of a plan. It's part of a plan to overthrow governments. It's part of a plan to take over, part of a plan to enslave everyone who is not Muslim and either convert them or kill them. And it seems as though Ken Paxton down in Texas has uncovered some actual illegal activity when it comes to Epic City, which is something that we've talked about many times here on this show. The East Plano Islamic Center, they have a 400-acre development project that they're working on. And it seems that they have engaged in some illegal activity, and Ken Paxton is on the case. Securities fraud, some other illegalities. And we were reliably told, although maybe it seems not so reliably at this point, that all the panic, all the consternation over Epic City was Islamophobia, was misinformation. Ken Paxton found, after reviewing 750 documents from Community Capital Partners, which is the group that is developing Epic City, that there's evidence of illegal activity. And Ken Paxton requested formal referral from the Texas State Securities Board to file suit against them. And yeah, I don't have the actual press release up, unfortunately, but it seems that they took $80,000 per investor in exchange for shares that would count towards home purchases in Epic City. That is not a timeshare. That is not investment. That is a crowd-funded caliphate. That is a crowd-funded caliphate on an installment plan. They didn't register, allegedly, according to Ken Paxton. They made false representation and engaged in some illegal fundraising activities with respect to this. So, sounds like it was a pyramid scheme. That's what it sounds like. And of course, Epic City, the CCP partners, not Chinese Communist Party, but what's it called? Community Capital Partners. They deny any wrongdoing, which of course they're going to. But then again, as we've established many times on this show, they are allowed to lie. And a lot of leftist propaganda outlets are saying that this is another culture war attack by Ken Paxton on Islam. This is just Ken Paxton fighting back against a culture that wants to steal our faith, our family, and our freedom. That's exactly what he's doing. He's fighting back, and he's fighting back in the way that he can. And we need more people doing that, because we simply cannot have this. We cannot have this. And we had we talked about Murphy, Texas, where they're doing another one of these complexes, not as big as Epic City, but still Murphy, Texas, Aubrey, Texas. They're trying to do this all over the place. And we cannot let them. And I'm hoping and praying that Ken Paxton is successful. I'm praying that they actually shut this down, Negan style. And if you get that reference, we can be friends. But it's all part of a plan. It's all part of a plan, and they are at war with us. They are at war with us. And we would do well to recognize that, to understand that, to follow Ken Paxton's example and find all of these things and root them out. Because if we don't, they will root us out. They will root us out. And eventually it will get to the point where we won't be able to fight in a courtroom. We won't be able to fight in a city hall meeting. We won't be able to fight at a ballot box. They will be bringing the fight directly to us. And we don't want that. We don't want that. And I'm praying that it never comes to that, but they want that. They absolutely want that, and they are gearing up for it. BZ says, finally, it's someone speaking the truth about Islam, trying to outbreed everyone else because Muzzies realize demography is prophecy. What I've said for over a decade. Well, once again, BZ, you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. Phantom is in the chat. Thank you for being here, Phantom. It would be a losing battle. Yes. They would lose. They would lose. But we want to make sure that the goal is to have them lose before it gets to that point, before it reaches that pitch. We have been warning, like people like BZ, like myself, have been warning that these multi-faith urban centers, urban utopias, whatever you want to call them, are just fronts for ideological and religious expansion. And it seems like now, based on what Ken Paxton has found, financial exploitation. And the evidence is, well, somebody's finally digging evidence. It's not that it's coming to light. Somebody like Ken Paxton is actually digging for it. And he's running for Senate in the state of Texas. I mean, as much as I really can't stand John Cornyn, I would rather him stay in the office of Attorney General and fight there, because that's where he is shining. And then, of course, Wesley Hunt jumped in the race. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But it's not Islamophobia. Phobia is an irrational fear of something. They are telling us, they have been telling us forever that they hate us. They've been telling us forever they want to kill us. They've been telling us forever that they want to establish a caliphate and enslave us or kill us, dominate us. Pick a word. They have been telling us. And for whatever reason, we have just been too complacent to listen. But thankfully, Ken Paxton in Texas is leading the charge, and hopefully other attorney generals around the country take note and start doing their own digging in their own states. All right. Let's see. What else are we going to talk about here? All right. I'm sure you've heard, well, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. Yeah, you probably have. because if you're here, you pay attention, so you've heard about it. There was a group chat of young Republican leaders who that was leaked, and it was 2,900 pages of ill-advised jokes, edgy, quote unquote, edgy banter between some of these people. And of course, Politico got a hold of those texts, those messages, and ran a story on it. I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts. Probably not what you might think, what you might expect. Let's see. Do I have? I don't know if I actually found those texts. As I said, as I told y'all, it has been an interesting couple of days. All right, here we go. Let's take a look at some of these. Actually, you know what? Let's pull up the Politico article. And go through that, because I think it's worth getting into a little bit. So this is the article. I love Hitler, according to some of these messages. Leaked messages expose young Republicans' racist chat. Thousands of private messages reveal young GOP leaders joking about gas chambers, slavery, and rape. Leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked, but they kept typing anyway. Before I get into that, let's just say this. A lot of conservatives have come down on the side of it's dark humor, it's boys being boys, even though there were women in this chat group. Young people saying stupid things. And that's true. Young people do say stupid things. But some of these people were in their late 20s and early 30s. And 2,900 pages of stupid. Now, obviously, they chose to publicize certain texts to amplify, to sensationalize this story. I would imagine that of those 2,900 pages, most of it was benign stuff, but they found these and decided to publicize them. The fact that there's so much outrage around this, when there was absolutely none when it came to Jay Jones and what he said in his text about wanting to see a woman watch her children die, about wanting to put 2 bullets in the head of a political rival. The outrage that I'm seeing around this, as opposed to that, makes me want to just dismiss it outright altogether. Seriously, because if you're not going to condemn somebody glorifying somebody fantasizing about murder, not just their political rival, but their political rival's children, but you are going to get excised about somebody making a joke, ill-advised to be sure. It's not a joke I would make about Hitler or gas chambers or a rape. If you're not gonna condemn that, but then you're gonna get all up in arms about this, then I really don't put stock in anything you have to say. Nothing. It means absolutely nothing to me. That said, if this was a 18-year-old college kid, I would still condemn it, but I would be more inclined to go with the boys will be boys, young people say stupid things defense. But most of these people were established in their careers in their mid to late 20s. One of them was in his early 30s, at least one of them. In this day and age, in the internet age, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that everything we say and everything we do is recorded or has the potential to be recorded. If you have not learned by the time you are in your mid-20s to early 30s, if you have not learned that you do not put anything in writing, you do not say anything on camera that you are not ready to defend, then you're an idiot. You're an idiot, and you don't deserve to be in politics, because that is just stupid. Absolutely stupid. Kids learn this now at such an early age. I mean, we saw what happened, it was probably a decade or so ago now. A baseball player said something on Twitter stupid when he was 12 or 15 or something like that, and he lost his job. An adult in a career in politics. And there's the story. The story mentioned somebody who said, if this leaks, we're cooked. Well, yeah. But you kept typing anyway. The fact that some of these people lost their jobs, and it actually looks like one of these people was 40. I got no sympathy. I got no sympathy for you whatsoever. If you're 40 years old and you're engaged in that kind of ridiculous behavior, there's no hope for you. Well, the only hope you have is pray that you get a revelation from Jesus, because that's just asinine. The jokes themselves, I mean, I've been in locker rooms with cops, with athletes, just friends. Some of the things that we have said to each other, I mean, there is absolutely no way we would want any of that leaked. But to actually put it on a platform that is backed up, people can screenshot, people can leak, people can forward. If you do that in the position you're in politics, in any position, doesn't matter, any career path. If you do that and your texts, that material leaks, you deserve everything that you get. You deserve everything that you get. Because you're clearly too stupid to function in that role. And that may be an unpopular opinion among conservatives. I don't know. I don't care. I know there are a lot of conservatives who are pushing completely back and saying they don't want to hear anything from it because people have been still backing Jay Jones and all that. And I get it. I get it. I mentioned that at the outset. I don't want to hear anything from those people either, but at the same time, come on. Come on. Yeah, that's just stupid. It's stupid, and you deserve everything that you get. Let's well, seems we have some trolls in the chat. BZ. Yet Democrats don't let the scream when conservatives delve into internet background of, say, Jay Jones. None of those kids are running for any political position. Well, some of them actually, they were like chiefs of staff for some politicians, and I'm sure they had ambitions to run for office at some point. But yeah, the fact remains, the left has been completely silent. You know what, let's, just for fun. Never mind. I'm not gonna play into that. Eternal Vanguard, I will pray for you. Let's just leave it at that. I will pray for you. Zombie Force, thank you for being here. I am after a rough start, I am doing well. Thank you very much. A realist, huh? Yeah, okay. Eternal Vanguard, thank you for the laugh today, buddy. Okay, here we go. Why do you side with a party that obviously supports racism? Answer me this. What have you seen from the Republican Party that constitutes racism? Yeah. Yeah, they were stupid. The young Republicans were stupid. But what policy, what government policy has projected racism, has furthered racism? If anything, it goes the other way with affirmative action. Affirmative action actually, discriminates against white people and Asian people in favor of underqualified Black people. So, you know what? There's your racism, and it's not supported by the Republicans. You know what? Hit me up on X, and we can continue this discussion there. I'm not gonna continue this here on the show. Because this selective outrage that the left likes to engage in is tiresome. It's tedious. They rail against these young Republicans who said some really ridiculous things and stupid things, and they deserve to be drummed out of politics. I get that. But they have absolutely nothing to say when it comes to fantasizing about murder. So their positions, their opinions on this are completely irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. Young Republicans are getting roasted, deservedly so. Jay Jones is getting endorsed by major political candidates without a word to say about his murder fantasies. The only thing the American Pravda is consistent about is their hypocrisy. That's it. And the young Republicans who engage in this behavior, they are going to learn a very valuable lesson about their digital stupidity. And it will be interesting to see if any of them land on their feet, if any of them stay in politics. I don't know. We shall see. If you haven't learned, just to put a nail in this before we close today, if you haven't learned that the internet is forever, politics, public life in general, just is not for you. Period. All right, y'all. That's all I got for you today. I will keep trying to make each show better than the last one. If any of what I said hit home for you, please take a second to like and subscribe, and share these shows, share this channel with everyone that you know, because we're not just here to run our mouths. We are here to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ and to carry the banner of faith, freedom, and hope for future generations. And if you want some cool gear, please head over to carrygirl.com and missionreadymen.com. On Mission Ready Men, hit Shop 7 Armors and check out all of the great designs that we have over there about bold faith, true grit, and unapologetic patriotism. And as always, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away, but the Lord is right there with you. So keep your prayers going up and your head on a swivel. God bless.